The rain hadn't let up, and Shamila had no choice but to linger in Xavier's gallery longer than she intended. She wandered between the paintings, her fingers trailing just above the surface of each frame, as if she could feel the energy radiating from his work without touching it. "You're not afraid to get close," Xavier said, his voice breaking the quiet. Shamila turned to find him leaning against the wall, watching her with an intensity that made her stomach flip. "Should I be?" she countered, tilting her head. He pushed off the wall and crossed the room in a few slow steps, stopping just close enough that she could see the faint streaks of paint still clinging to his hands. "That depends," he murmured. "Are you the type who plays it safe?" Her breath hitched, but she refused to let it show. "You tell me. You seem to think you know everything about me already." Xavier smiled, slow, deliberate, like he enjoyed the way she was trying to hold her ground. "Not everything," he said, his voice dipping slightly, "but I'm figuring it out." He reached out, his fingers brushing hers as he gestured toward the painting she'd been staring at. "This one," he said, his voice low, "is about tension. That pull you can't quite explain." Shamila's skin felt electric where his hand had barely touched hers, and she fought to keep her voice steady. "What kind of tension?" Xavier looked at her then, really looked, his gaze lingering on her face like he was trying to capture every detail. "The kind that makes you wonder if you should take one more step," he said, his voice just above a whisper. For a moment, neither of them moved, the sound of rain on the windows the only thing filling the space between them. Shamila could feel the heat radiating from him, and when he leaned in, just slightly, she swore the air around her shifted. "You're bold," she said, her voice softer than she intended. He smiled again, his eyes glinting with something unreadable. "And you're curious." Her pulse quickened, but she didn't pull back. Instead, she tilted her chin up just enough to meet his gaze head-on. "Maybe," she said, her voice steady now. Xavier's smile deepened, like he'd just won some unspoken game. "Then stay," he said, his voice like a promise. "Let's see where this goes." And for the first time in a long time, Shamila didn't second-guess herself. She stayed,